Hi, everybody. This is BL Bourgeois. You are watching Ask Alan Anything. You can ask me any questions about marketing or publishing. I've been in the industry long enough to know all the answers, and by that, I actually do mean long enough. I've been writing for over 30 years as a published author in short stories as well as books, articles, and things of that nature. I worked in, I actually was a publisher for a small independent press for 6 years. I got 60 books published during that period of time for people all around the country. And I have been working in the marketing aspect for the last 9 years, since 2011, helping Texas authors learn how to better market and sell themselves. So I've been keeping up on the trends and all that stuff. So I do have lots of background and lots of knowledge. So hopefully you can use what you've seen on my shows into a good aspect and help improve your sales. And to do that, we're also going to talk today mostly about a cost sheet that I created, and it's in my book, Author's Revolution, which I'll show later. I'm going to show bits and pieces of the worksheet in the video in the edited version. So definitely take a look at all the different parts of it. There are 4 main sections to it. We have, of course, the necessary expenses. That is getting your book published. That's the initial aspect. We'll also be talking about the distribution aspect. Then we go into other expenses, and then we go into optional expenses, and then we finally talk about the profit and loss. Now, everything that you see on the graph is based on a 2018 survey that Texas Authors did. Any author is welcome to submit to the survey at any given time during the course of the year. We usually announce the new survey in January of the new year, but at any time throughout the year, you're welcome to submit the information. The more information we get from authors, especially independent authors, the better we can help serve the industry and give the right information out there on sales, expenses, all that stuff that really will alter and affect for the good the publishing world and how they treat indie authors and stuff like that. You can go to txauthors.com and then just scroll at the top left. There's 3 bars. Scroll down, excuse me, look for the author survey, and you can fill it out at any given time. The more information you give, the better. If you don't have information, such as you don't have your sales information on ebooks or audiobooks, leave those blank and just continue on. But give as much information as you possibly can. This does help us be able to change the publishing world to better suit and work with indie authors. So please check it out at txauthors.com. So in the initial aspect, we talk about the necessary expenses, which of course is your cover design. We know that you can spend anywhere from about $250 on the low side to well over $1,000 on the high side. You can go to Fiverr and check out some of the cover designers there. They are very inexpensive overall, but make sure you're very clear on what you want and work with them until you get exactly what you want. And then when you do get the cover design laid out, the cover design is not only the front of the book, but it's also the back end, the side panel, the spine. All of that is important. You want all of that done at the same time to keep with consistency, flow, coloring, all that stuff. If you only get just the front part done, then when you go to do the spine and the rest, the coloring may be off and it may not look good. So always make sure you get the entire cover from the front to the back done at one time, okay? Editorial, that's a toughie because you have various pricing on that. All editors, if they're good and qualified, will give you a sample test. It's not a full chapter usually, but it's a partial chapter. They'll go through and they'll edit and they'll give you feedback and commentary, and they'll, based on the overall project, they'll give you a price of what it could cost. We've seen the low as $350 and as high as $1,500. But you can go through and look for a good editor that's in your industry or your genre, because you don't want to get a bad editor, or actually a good editor who's in the wrong genre. That makes them a bad editor unintentionally. You don't want that. So make sure you get an editor that works in your genre and is familiar with your genre, how it flows, how it works, and all that stuff, that helps you in the long run to have greater success. You can go to indiebeacon.com, and on the service directory, all of these services that we talk about are listed there, the graphic artists, editors, video, cover layouts, gut layouts, everything that you need for creating a book and marketing and supporting it and all that stuff is available there at indiebeacon.com under the directory of services. So the next thing we want to talk about is proofreading. Now, an editor will sometimes do the proofreading, and most of the times they will, but you do want a separate proofreader, okay? And here's the reason why. You become glassy-eyed to your book. The editor becomes glassy-eyed to your book. And what glassy-eyed means is that you read what you think should be there and not what is actually there. Your mind memorized what your book is about. So you could be going through and looking at it, even using a ruler, which is a good way to do an initial proofreading, go line by line with a ruler. But even then, authors and editors that have worked on the book enough become glossy-eyed and miss things. A proofreader is totally new to the book, has no clue what it is, and will look at it. They'll make comments, they'll make adjustments. If they're not sure about how you're using the word, they'll ask you about it to make sure it's properly spelled and or used with the right grammar, etc. So definitely after you've gone through all the edits, get a proofreader in there just to make sure one last time that everything's good. Again, you'll find editors that will range from a low of 350 to a high of 750. And same thing with editors as with proofreaders. You can get them to do a test run to see if they've missed anything. So if you know there's a word purposely misspelled, see if they will catch it. That will give you a good idea if they're any good or not, okay? So then we have the layout design. Now the layout design is different than the graphics designer. The layout design is meant for the guts of the book, okay? You do not want an old English style with a large first letter in the beginning of a chapter for a mystery thriller. And the same token, you don't want the layout of a mystery thriller for a large romantic romance. You have to lay the book out based on the genre, okay? Make sure if it's a nonfiction book that all the graphs, pictures, whatever you're using is laid out clearly, it fits within the pages properly and all that stuff. How your name is listed, how your book numbers are listed, all of that is part of the layout, okay? Make sure it's laid out for your genre. If you haven't done the research for your book, you definitely want to do this before you start hiring all these people, because you want to walk in knowing how your book fits in your genre and what the basic overall feel and context is. Because if somebody goes in and pick up a mystery thriller and what they're seeing is a layout of a romance, they're going to immediately discard it because they know the author's not legit, because they haven't done the research, it doesn't fit within the genre, it doesn't fit within what they're used to and their comfort level is, and therefore you've lost a sale even though you're trying to be pretty and fancy and all that stuff when you shouldn't be, okay? So definitely get a layout designer for that. The layout designer should also then be able to create your ebooks for you as well, whether it be EPUB, Mobi, Kindle version, or excuse me, what other versions you need. Draft2Digital is a good ebook converter that allows you to work through the book to make sure it's laid out properly, but that's after the fact, after everything else is done, okay? And then you go to the book print cost, okay? Depending on how many pages your book is will determine the pages. Unfortunately, our figures are a little outdated now, simply because when we looked at a 350-page, 320-page book, prices were lower. They've gone up twice since then, since we created this workout sheet, so you need to keep that in mind. You can go to ingramspark.com. They do have a price calculator that will determine what the price of the printed version is with shipping and all that stuff. So say, for example, you want to do your initial order of 100 books, you enter in all the information, the page count, the size, dimensions, all that stuff, and where it's shipping to, and they will give you a price, and then divide that by 100. That tells you what your cost of the book is, okay? That cost is not only the print, but adds in the shipping charges as well, which is important because that helps you determine your retail value, okay? So once you've gotten all of those figures together, you're looking at, just based on our 2018 figures, okay, anywhere from $1,252 up to $4,754. Okay, that's your low and your high. We do have a graph, and you are welcome to access and download it at any time, so that you can learn what the actual cost is, or compare yourself to other people and see what the cost is. And actually, if you bear with me a second, I will give you a web address that you can download a sample chapter for free, which includes all of this information, so that you can actually look and compare what we were looking at in 2018 versus what you're paying at now. If you go to https://lp.constantcontact.com/SU/GCZJTC, capital Z. We'll have that on the screen. So don't worry about it, but go there. You can sign up to get the free copy, and also get on our mailing list so that you can learn and keep up ahead of a lot of projects and programs that are out there that are designed to help you. Okay, so you've gone through that. You in our survey of 2018, the national average of book sales was 587 books per year for an author. Okay, so we figured that out for just that one book. Okay, the cost of getting those books printed and stuff. Excuse me. Every time I talk to you guys, I start getting the belches. My apologies. If you take that cost of $1,252 minus the sales of an average book of $15.67 each, with 587 books being the average, that's $9,198 in sales. So you've made a profit of $7,946 before all your other expenses, and that's very critical. While $10,000 income off your books sounds great, then comes in all your other expenses. And this is what's really critical. While we are trying to be price competitive so that we don't lose book sales by overpricing our books, we have to be realistic and understand that we have a business, and it costs money to get these books out there. It costs money to promote it, which is even more expensive than the actual printing of the books. So you have to take all these things into consideration. That's why we're doing this show today. So we have other costs, such as your shipping costs, your packaging of the books and stuff like that. For the low end, you're looking at roughly $3 per book for shipping and packaging costs. So that's $1,700. You're now down to $6,185 in profit. Okay, that still sounds good, but again, we have a lot of other expenses that you may not be thinking about that is critical, okay? So in just the initial aspect of getting the book done, okay, if you're selling it yourself, that's fine. You don't have any distribution fees. But if you want it on Amazon, if you want it in Barnes & Noble, if you want it on Indie Lector Store, any of those other outlets, you have a distribution cost that is expensive as hell, okay? Ingram, if you signed up with them, or Ingram Sparks, and you want the book distributed to Amazon and all those other places, they will take a minimum percentage. That percentage you can select, but understand, the lower the percentage, the greater chances it will not sell, okay? Because if bookstores can't make their money off the sale, they're not going to carry your book, okay? So they need the lowest price possible to buy it at wholesale, and of course then the most number of book sales for that item to make sure that they make money, okay? So your baseline distribution fee is 55% of your retail, okay? So if your book is selling at $15.67, your baseline, which is 55%, is $8.62, okay? That's a lot of money. But what they do then is they save 5% for themselves, being the distributor, and then they start selling to other sources. Ingram will sell to bookstores, independent bookstores, for anywhere from 10 to 40% off the retail price, depending on how many books they sell on average or how many books they buy from Ingram, okay? So a bookstore may not begin a great discount to begin with. Ingram is hogging their money and stuff. What they're trying to do is get the bookstores to buy as much from them as they possibly can. So the more they buy, the greater the discount, which is greater profit for them. Okay, but Amazon has an automatic discount of 50% off for everybody. Okay, even straight from the publishers. Okay, so that gives them a built-in competitive edge that all the other bookstores don't get. Okay, because they get to take 50% off the retail, purchase the book at 50% off retail. So your $15 book is now $7.50, and they can sell it for whatever price they want. That's why when you go to Amazon, you'll see that price fluctuation constantly on a particular book. One day it may be selling for $12.95, or it may even sell for the full retail of $15.67, but then drop down to $8 the next day, or $5, or well, they won't go below their $7.50 limit. But you'll see a variety of prices for that particular book because they have that built-in 50% discount that allows them to sell for whatever price they want. That's why their algorithms can do that type of stuff. And that's why other bookstores are going out of business, because they don't have that ability. They don't get to play on that fair level of playground that Amazon automatically gets. So that's the hard part. But at the same time, that also means authors are not earning their fair share from the book sales either because of that type of distribution. Okay, because all they get is what the retail price or the royalty price is from Ingram, which may be anywhere from 50 cents to $1.50, max $2 usually for a book. But again, it depends on the price. There may be some higher, some lower. It all depends on the price. And that's why that retail price we'll talk about again at the end is so critical. Okay, so you have those distribution charges. If you go in and do a commission sell to a bookstore, the minimum is 40%. Okay, that means they get 40% off the retail price. You get 60%. So if you're buying your books directly from your distributor, your printer, and you're turning around and selling them, you know you have that 40% that you're going to lose automatically to a bookstore, but that's okay because you're making more money because you're directly selling it. But that also means more work, which means more expenses, which cuts into your profit line one way or the other. So it's a win-win-win-lose situation depending on how you work it and which system you use. So we're going to go into other expenses. Now, these are basic expenses that you may not think about, but depending on what the latest rules are on the tax laws, you may be able to take credit for them on your tax returns as a small business working out of your home, that type of thing, which can help you save some money and raise your profit level, okay? So for one example, you have your phone, your rent, your utilities, your car, and by the car, I mean your mileage. Then you have your car insurance. Then you have your car payment. So all of those things can typically cost you in a 1 month period of time, anywhere from $830 to $13,000 on the high end, which is your yearly cost. That really cuts into your profit, okay? Then you have marketing materials. Your basic marketing materials are your bookmarks, your posters, the signage on your table and stuff, miscellaneous table items, your tablecloth. If you choose to have candies or cookies or whatever little goodies you want on your tables or stuff like that, your table skirt, all of that comes in. So you're looking at a cost of at least $2,800 to a maximum of about $16,000 on a yearly basis, okay? So those things are things to consider, okay? That cuts into your profit, okay? Remember, you're only starting to work out with your profit at about $6,000. So when you're talking about losing another $2,000, $3,000, that doesn't leave you much more, and you still have a lot more expenses to consider. And again, that's why that retail price and what you sell it for is so critical, okay? So optional expenses includes such things as book festivals, contests, reviews, those type of things. So on average, we found that people were spending for book festivals for a table fee of about $350 per year, for hotel, $325, for mileage, about 169 $169 for the mileage, and then of course the food and stuff is about 60. So they're spending about $854 to a high of $3,185. Okay, and they attend on average about 5 book festivals a year. Okay, so that's a lot of money. Again, cutting into your profit. Okay. Then you have your book contests. You can get book contest entry fees for as low as $25 to as high as $150. I think I've seen some as high as $200. But again, book contests we've talked about in previous episodes, so definitely go back and check that out, because you want to make sure you get your fair share in return if you win. Okay. Then book mailing of those books to the contest and stuff like that, the cost of the books that you're shipping, all of that adds up. So you're looking at about $100 to $400 per year in expenditures for that. Okay. Then you have your reviews. Ideally, you want to get free reviews, but that can take some time. So if you choose to pay for reviews and legitimate review services, that can cost you anywhere from $25 at the bare minimum up to $500. Excuse me, for the service, depending on what service you use, how quickly you want it returned, all that stuff. And if you're planning your marketing programs properly, you're getting those reviews returned quickly to build into that marketing plan and your pre-orders and all that stuff, because that's really critical information that will help sell your book. Okay. And again, you know, have those other fees, your postage, your cost of the books, all of that stuff can add up. So you're looking at another $42 to $100 a year, up to $500 a year. Okay. So again, you're looking between all of that at about $138 minimum to up to $1,000 for that. Again, that's cutting into your profit. Okay. So with that in mind, let's talk about the profit. Okay. If you have the book creation total cost of about $3,000, then you have your profit and loss from that, you know, as we mentioned, was $6,000. Then you have other expenses. All of those expenses we talked about is another $12,000. You're already in the hole, $6,000. Then you have your book sales and your profit from that. So you may come out at about $12,000, excuse me, at $8,000 in profit and stuff. So that's really critical information. That's important and stuff. Okay. You could be making some money, but it's very minimal, you know, to like $1,000, $2,000 out of the year, to losing up to $12,000 to $30,000 a year, depending on the highs and lows of all the expenses that you have. So that's why it's so important that you look at your retail price. Okay. So let's talk about that retail price. If we went through again and we said your average cost for printing a book is, let's say, $4, okay? And you figured out, okay, if the average book sales are going to be this, and I'm going to work really hard to meet that 500, 800, 600, whatever the average number is, okay, for your genre. And you know that's what your income level is, okay, at that $4. That's the minimum you have to make, okay? Then you add in all your expenses and everything. Take all of those expenses from that worksheet, add it all up, and then divide it by what the average book sales are, okay? That will tell you how much money you need to make per book, okay? So if you're averaging at about $10 per book that you have to earn, and you're only selling it for $12.95, well, you've already lost your money because of that distribution fees, of those fees that the bookstores are taking, and all that stuff. You've lost big time. So you don't want to do that, okay? You have to look at what the cost is, then figure out, again, you know, your distribution fees, how much they're going to take out, and then you've got to price your book accordingly, okay? That, unfortunately, is going to be pricing your book out there pretty high, okay? And so let's actually do that, okay? I'm going to pull up a calculator here real quickly so we can do it live and figure it, okay? So if you're looking at $10 per cost and the average book sales is $587 for a year, okay? That's $5,870. And if you want the bare minimum, that's $8,374, okay? You've lost $2,500, okay? So add that in, figuring that your cost is $8,374. Divide that by the average of 587. That means you need to be earning $14.26 a book. That's nearly impossible. So you've got to look at your ebooks. How much are those selling for? And are you going to be able to get your money out of that versus out of the print, so that your actual expenditures for the print is much lower, okay? I know this is confusing because there's so many things involved, and you really have to look at it in that way, and that's why the worksheet is so important, okay? You have to get a basic understanding of what the cost is so that you can then determine what's the best way to sell your books. Yes, you want to have those print books, but maybe that's not the way to sell them. Maybe the ebooks, which is only $2.99 at expenses, is the best way to sell them. If you're selling them at $2.99 and you're making, let's say, at least half of that, okay, which is about $1.49, okay, then you will need to cover your expenses, sell 4,208 books, ebooks, at your break-even point of $1.49, and let me make sure that was correct. Again, that's $8,374 is what you're spending on getting your book out there, promoting it, and all that stuff. That's your basic yearly expenditures, okay? And we're dividing that by your profit. I stand corrected. The total should be then 5,621 books. That's just pure ebooks that you need to be selling to generate all that income back so that you're covering your expenses for the year, okay? Then you got your print books, and that's extra. That would be icing on the cake. Your audiobooks is a whole nother issue because you have more expenses on that. So you need to look at all of those things to determine what is going to be the best way to sell your books, how many books you can sell, and actually get the money back, okay? Now, KDP Select, which sells books based on, all right, so let me rephrase that. KDP Select pays out based on how many pages are read of the ebook, okay? They start at a 10% minimum has to be read in order to get paid out, okay? Then you get paid out at maybe 1/4 cent per book. Some may be higher, some may be lower, but all of that's important because if you are counting strictly on KDP Select, you need to have a lot of page reads to generate that 8 to 10 grand to cover your expenses, okay? Then again, the physical book sales are icing on the cake. Is it best to have that tagged in with that KDP Select program, so if they buy the book, they get the free ebook, or if they buy the ebook, they may get a discount on the paper book? All of that stuff is important, okay? So look at all those things. I don't want to be depressing, but that's critical for your success, and that's what we're all about. txauthors.com and indybeacon.com, we are here to help you. I am here to help you, and that's why I created the Authors Revolution and the Authors Revolution Workbook, to help you manage your funding, make sure you get the most out of your marketing, and success. It's all about success. Indie authors deserve and have the right to be successful and to compete with everybody else, and that's why all the programs that we've created through Texas Authors, Indie Beacon, Dear Texas, Indie Lecture, and all of those things are designed to help you succeed. So all of the information is out there on the edited version of the video. Definitely make sure you reach out to us with any questions at bourgeoismedia@outlook.com. You've seen that. Scroll through the video as well. We are here to help. Ask the questions, watch our videos, and good luck to you. Thanks for watching. Authors, do you know the true cost of being published? In the Authors Revolution Workbook, BL and Bourgeois gives you hands-on tools to use and to understand the true cost of being published. He will also give you information about low-cost or free programs that are designed to help you market your book. B. Allen Bourgeois has been helping hundreds of authors since 2011, educating them on how to better market and sell their books. Buy the Authors Revolution Workbook exclusively at indielector.store. Hi, this is your host, B. Allen Bourgeois. Thanks for watching Ask Allen Anything. We do appreciate you tuning in from time to time, and we are asking that if you're interested in the show and what the value it has for authors, that you help support us. We have created a Patreon page. You can go to Patreon, Patreon.com, and go to Bourgeois Media and become a sponsor. We have a lot of different options for you, free books, free credits, free whatever we can find that doesn't cost us too much, that allows us to be able to still raise money for Title I schools, getting the books into their hands, and also keeping the show up and running. So please check us out. That is Patreon, Patreon.com, and then look for Bourgeois Media. And I appreciate your support. Thanks. National Authors Day is November 2nd, 2019 in Houston, Texas. Join us at Discovery Green as we celebrate being a published author and remind the world of the great books that writers constantly create for your enjoyment. You can register at authors.dearindie.org. Howdy, my name is B. Allen Bourgeois. Yes, you heard the B at the beginning. It's part of me being a little bit on the creative mindset and mystery in life. After all, I do write fictional books, and I do enjoy a lot of creative aspects in what I do and how I use it. I will be blunt and honest with you and tell you that I would love to have your money, just plain and simple. But here's the reasons why. I am of the creative mindset. I'm lousy at business. I've done pretty good overall, but financially, I'm just not connecting the dots like other people like Bezos and many of the other people who've created wonderful businesses, big businesses, small businesses. That's just not where I'm at. I'm always giving my money away or supporting other projects, which is really what I do. I am the person who loves to help other people. I've been doing that since I've been 12 years of age. I've always been helping people in a variety of ways, whether it's been through the politics, through education, through supporting other organizations, creating events and programs. I've been doing that for a long time. My new book, which is entitled I'm Crazy Great, which if I ever get a chance to finish writing it, will really illustrate not only all the things I've done in my life and why I choose to do it and why I'm crazy doing it, but also why I'm great at doing it or enjoy the greatness that comes from doing it, which is helping people. That's what I'm all about. So that brings me back to watching this video and convincing you to be a sponsor, patron of the arts for what I do. So let me give you a little endeavor or expertise as to what I've done over the last few years and why I need your support. First off, in 2011, I started creating an organization known as Texas Association of Authors. I call it Texas Authors, which since then has grown into Indie Beacon, which helps authors all around the country, matter of fact, around the world, not just in Texas. While we still have our Texas Association of Authors, which has its brand and its style and everything, we also have Indie Beacon, which is designed for other authors. I started that when I was homeless. I was homeless for 5 years. So from 2011 through 2016, I built these organizations and some of the ones I'm going to be mentioning and stuff. So in 2014, I created an organization called Drop Everything and Read Texas, which is a nonprofit which is designed to get books written by Texas authors into the hands of Title I schools, their students, also libraries who can't afford it, to help encourage reading of all ages, because if you're in the modern age, you know reading books is slowly, continuously decreasing, and we want people to enjoy books. We want people to experience what they get out of the books, whether it's education, relaxation, stress release, thinking outside the box, helping people read and understand other people's perspective, their way of growing up, their ethnic backgrounds, their sexual minority background, whatever it is. By reading, people get to experience and get to grow, and that's what that DEAR program is about. Since it started, it's now part of DEAR Indie, which is Drop Everything and Read Indie, which really focuses on indie authors getting their books into Title I schools and libraries because they need the additional exposure. And a lot of indie authors, self-published authors, do have some really great books, but lack in the knowledge of how to get them out there, how to help support it. That's what Texas Association of Authors and Indie Beacon does, along with the Association of DEAR Indie, which also is book festivals, radio shows, and other things that we've done over the years and continue to do. And I have a long list of projects and ideas and things that I want to help create that inspire people to be creative, inspire people to grow, and to be healthy in a positive way. So also in 2014, I created what is known as the Texas Authors Institute of History, which is a museum that's specifically designed for Texas authors. It's the only museum in the country that is supporting the authors from a particular state. Currently, all of our information is online at texasauthors.institute. We have about 800 authors listed there, and we're constantly adding and growing them. Our goal is to build a permanent location by 2036. That's an educational center, as well as housing thousands and thousands of books written by Texas authors before they get lost and destroyed. There are many good quality books from the last 200 years that we want to save and preserve so that people can learn from them, see the styles and how they've changed, and the story concepts may be different from 1800 to 2000, but also may be the same. And to be able to go back and learn how written words were used and the beauty of the written language and stuff compared to now. Even I, as a writer, have to admit I'm not great at the word vocabulary and the styles of the old age, because some of that was just absolutely beautiful, and that's what I want to help save and to continue to do. So right now I'm working on a book called Author's Revolution, which is about helping authors understand more about marketing, but more so about being able to learn the cost of being a published author and control their money to make sure that they understand the expense and the value of properly marketing and properly pricing their books so that they can have an income to live off of and stuff like that. So hopefully one day when that happens and it's actually written and out there, I won't be needing a patron and we can move the money elsewhere to help other people and stuff. But for now, I do need the help. Like I said, I really suck in money management. It's just never been my thing over the last almost 60 years. Whether that's, well, that's another story. You have to buy the book to learn more about it. So with that, I also do have currently out there a companion workbook that illustrates all that information that I will be writing about and helps people better understand the concept of being a published author and the finances involved and stuff. So as you read these things that as a patron, you'll get those first copies and better understand things. You'll understand that while I'm a white older male, I'm not a privileged white older male. I've never been. I grew up in a poor family. I've had discrimination against me on many different levels. And I will be talking about that and sharing that in my book, I'm Crazy Great, so that better understands why it's so important for me to help other people who may be less fortunate than a white older male. Yes, I have to admit I have had a lot of benefits because I'm a white male, but like I said, I've faced a lot of discrimination over the years too. And so I understand the damage it comes from. And I do want to be able to help and give people those opportunities. So the organizations I've created are designed for everybody. Anybody who wants my help in the writing aspect and being a published author and stuff, I'm here. I'm always willing to help and give that information. Sure, I have a membership-based organization. Sure, I have the nonprofits where we try to pull different resources to help make those events go. But I'm not here to become filthy rich. That's not my goal, and that's not my objective. So for you to be a patron to help me ends up helping hundreds, if not thousands of others, which I've done over the years without the extra help. But I just really would love to have you as a patron helping me to be able to grow and get the word out there and do creative things that continue to last throughout, beyond my lifetime, that really do help people in so many ways. So with that, I appreciate you watching this short little video and to learn a little bit more about me and to better understand what I'm trying to accomplish. And I do hope you do become a patron. With that,